Well, we've reached the final day of 2020 and it certainly is ending on a rather chilly note. Thanks for clicking on to the, what day is it, Thursday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Certainly we've seen more snow once again today across parts of Scotland, the north of England, as well as southern parts of England and Wales. But slightly milder air is moving in, which is raising the snow level to higher ground. So really the precipitation that we continue to see over parts of central and eastern Scotland and England is more of a rain below, say, 150 to 200 metres. But so, like I say, slightly milder air moving in. But what we're going to do is, as we press through the rest of this evening, we're actually going to see another shot of colder air moving in at 850 millibars. So this is off the GFS. This is the 850 temperatures. You can see here, I know it's not the clearest and it's a bit hard to see, but you can see that milder air slightly over Scotland and edging into the north of England through this afternoon, hence the rain rather than snow. But as we start to press through the overnight period, you can see here that we'll see the darker blues indicating colder at 850, pushing back in again, and that is going to bring a colder night and a colder day, in fact, tomorrow. So 2021 will open in a fairly cold note. Temperatures across the north struggling to get much above freezing, especially with their snow cover. And then, of course, even further south, we're going to see low to mid-single figures temperature-wise. Now, as we press through the opening week of January and 2021, we're going to see the airflow start to kind of veer more east-northeasterly, and that is going to continue to keep the relatively dry theme going, but also the cold theme going here. So you can see here as we skip through, the blues continue to engulf the British Isles. We've got that milder air associated with high pressure to the west of the British Isles here, and that kind of starts to kind of wrap over top of the British Isles, and hence why with low pressure further south, high pressure further north, you start to pull in the air from the east here, and you can see that we maintain these blue colours representing the cold air. So we continue to see the potential for snow shower activity, and even back down to low levels once again as we go into the early part of next week. You can see here, this is Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and you've got dark blues here representing temperatures between -5 and -10 over the British Isles, and with an easterly wind blowing over relatively warm water of the North Sea. We could start to see almost some sort of sea effect snow showers, the convection, cold air dragging over relatively warm water. Of course, we're still early in the winter season, so those water temperatures haven't cooled down, and therefore we have the potential for seeing some east coast snowfall down the eastern side of the British Isles here, and we'll maintain this cold theme. Now, we get, according to the GFS, again, the details always kind of chop and change day by day, but the general overall emphasis being on the cold pattern persisting. You notice that we kind of lose those darker blues here, and then we'll regain those darker blues, if you will, as we press towards the end of next week and into next weekend here. And of course, when you get this far out, you know, you're starting to wish cast. It's just too far out. But the general emphasis being on a firmly negative Arctic oscillation and firmly negative North Atlantic oscillation. So we'll start to continue to feel the effects of that blocking over the North Atlantic into Greenland, and of course the deep trough and the cold continuing to push in from east to northeasterly direction here. Milder air, according to the GFS, does attempt at least at pushing into the southern half of the British Isles, but it's going to come up against a reservoir, a wall of very cold air, and therefore any mild that tries to come in will probably not succeed. But throw any moisture into that cold air, you know exactly what we're going to get. We're going to be talking about snowfall, and I think that is going to become a bigger and bigger threat more significant snowfall, not just the high ground but also the low levels, as we press into the week 2 of January here. Now, of course, there's a lot of talk about the southern stratospheric warming taking place, and yeah, that is an exciting concept. We are pretty much going to see it, and there is model indication as well, folks, that we have got coupling taking place. Now, what I mean by the coupling is that the stratosphere and the troposphere isn't necessarily connected, and when you get this sudden stratospheric warming taking place up and within the mid to high the mid to high levels of the stratosphere, you need to get a working down. You need to get that kind of downward transfer of energy from stratosphere into the troposphere, that coupling, and the modelling is indicating that coupling taking place, and that is an exciting prospect, because that would almost nail a potentially very cold weather pattern mid to late January for the western side of Europe here. So folks, there is a heck of a lot of things on the table here, and certainly I'm getting more and more enthusiastic as we go forward with regards to this strat warming. A major southern stratospheric warming is already starting to take place, and let's wait and see 10 to 15 days from now whether we can get the response. So let's have a quick skip through. This is 10 HPA. This is the upper levels of the stratosphere, and look at this the strength of warming taking place from the Asia side over the pole, and then we're going to see two pieces of the polar vortex split, one into North America, so we can see an Arctic outbreak here, and another into Europe here. So watch this space. Like I say, 10 to 15 days from now, let's wait and see how much of the British Isles is covered by snow. This is a beautiful setup if you're looking for winter weather, and this could be the first true cold January in quite some time across the British Isles here. And there is rumblings about January 1985 showing up. Some of these big cold outbreaks, these big heavyweight Januaries in terms of winter weather across the British Isles, is not out of the realm of possibility that we could see in January 2021 based on the modelling here. But let's just take step by step here. There's still a long way to go, but certainly there is a lot of winter coming up, not just next week, but the next several weeks. Hope you have a wonderful new year. Please be safe out there, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with more. Bye for now.